Sean O'Malley just dropped a bombshell that could completely change how fans see the upcoming Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan rematch. And if his prediction proves true, December could deliver the biggest upset the bantamweight division has seen in years. According to Sean, everything comes down to one overlooked factor: the cage size. This isn't gossip or speculation. He's warning everyone to pay attention after spending 25 grueling minutes under Merab's relentless pressure and going toe-to-toe with Yan himself. O'Malley knows exactly what makes both men dangerous. He reminded fans that their first clash took place in the smaller cage, a tight, suffocating setup that became Merab's perfect hunting ground. But this time, they're fighting inside the bigger cage, and Sean says that single change flips the entire story. Fighters, analysts, and even Joe Rogan are already weighing in. Some agree, others are panicking. Stay tuned, because in 40 seconds, I'll reveal one stat from their first fight that experts believe will never happen again.
Petr Yan versus Merab 2. Peter supposedly hurt his hand, or had like a really bad injury on his hand going to that first fight. I will say the first fight was in the small cage. That is completely fucking fighting the small cage and the big cage, completely different. It was 50-45. Peter didn't win a single round. That's what that means. Do we see it being any different?
O'Malley broke down why that first meeting was a nightmare for Yan. 49 takedown attempts. Yes, 49. It was one of the most relentless wrestling displays in UFC history. Yan defended many of them, but the pace itself crushed him. Sean explained that the smaller cage gave Yan no escape routes. Every time he tried to move, he hit the fence. He wasn't just fighting Merab, Sean said. He was fighting the walls. Then came the revelation that changed everything. Yan admitted he entered the fight with a compromised right hand. That detail instantly shifted how fans viewed his performance. But this time, O'Malley says Yan isn't just healed, he's retooled. He's made a critical adjustment that, according to Dominic Cruz, could slice Merab's takedowns in half.
It's a tricky one, because Yan, the thing is with Sandhagen and you is that you're movers. You move about, you're shifting, you're hard to get shots off on. Once the shots are in, you know, Merab's likely going to get those shots off. But with Petr Yan, he's so there, he's kind of a bit more stationary, high and tight guard. So he's there to get on the hips of, which is why you saw Merab shoot fucking 50 takedowns in 25 minutes on him. Get 11 of them, but it doesn't matter because you spend half the fight defending takedowns that don't even work. It's a tricky test. One thing I will say about the Yan Merab fight though, both guys were injured going into it. I challenge people to go back and watch Yan versus Merab 1 and count how many times Yan throws his right hand in that fight. It's minimal. It's very minimal. Yeah, he keeps that close to him. He barely lets go of it. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of injury going on here. So that could be a little spin of a narrative. I reckon it'll be a closer fight, but it's hard to doubt Merab at this point, dude. He's paving his way onwards.
Who do you think's improved most since their last fight?
Oh my,
right?
dude, that's a good question, because Peter has improved a ton since that last fight. I mean, he went out there. I think he beat Figueiredo. He beat Song Yadong. Did he just have those two fights?
And then he just beat Marcus. Yeah.
Oh, and Marcus McGee. Yeah. Peter has looked really good. Definitely looks like he's improved. Merab has improved, I would say, more than anybody. After that first fight with me, I feel like him going to that Umar fight, he leveled up a ton. And then after the Umar fight, like the second time I fought him, I feel like from the first time I fought him to the second time I fought him, it was only 8 months. I regret having surgery and fighting a machine like that after fucking 8 months. It was probably not one of the smartest moves I've done, especially against a fucking machine like.
Interview 2. Dominic Cruz joined the conversation with his trademark analytical precision. He pointed out that Yan's biggest mistake wasn't even in the grappling. It was in his footwork. Yan moves like he's following a straight line, Cruz said. Forward, backward, that's it. Against Merab, that's suicide. Cruz argued that if Yan mixes things up, cutting angles, throwing feints, changing rhythm, Merab's predictability advantage disappears. He doesn't have to stop every takedown, just enough to survive the storm. If Yan can stay upright 10 or 15 more times than he did before, Cruz believes the rematch could be unrecognizable. Not a repeat of the first fight, but a war that truly tests Merab's limits. And up next, we'll uncover the one thing Merab fears most heading into this rematch. And it's not Yan's punches.
More confident in his hands, and his hands have improved a lot. He actually cracked me a few times in that second fight. It's just so hard to fight someone when you have to respect their wrestling so much. and then they start fucking throwing hands. He's doing a really good job at mixing it up. Could that be the downfall for him versus Peter? He gets a little bit confident in those hands. Peter's counters, I rewatched me versus Peter a couple days ago, jogging on the old treadmill, and his fucking counters, and a couple times I'd sit in there with a 1-2, and he would counter so fucking hard and fast. And that, I mean, if Merab does decide, hey, I do want to trade with him a little bit, like that could be his downfall. But also imagine Merab goes out there and knocks out Peter.
If Merab knocks out Peter, there's just...
I gotta get it back. I gotta get.
Merab Dvalishvili responded with quiet confidence. He said their first fight came with nerves, doubt, and pressure, and he still dominated. But now he says he's calmer, sharper, and more dangerous. Still, Merab refuses to underestimate Yan, admitting the Russian won't make the same mistake twice. Merab also acknowledged one brutal truth. No one has ever finished Petr Yan. Not Aljamain Sterling, not Sean O'Malley, not Merab himself. Every loss Yan has suffered went the distance. Merab wants to be the first to change that. He admits it's a tall mountain to climb, but if he pulls it off, he vows to stay in the division, defend the belt again, and start building his own dynasty before thinking about moving up. Stay right here, because the next fight on this same card could turn into the most unexpected title threat of 2025.
Think about that for a second. It's really that simple. Cut 40 takedowns off. Is that possible for Petr Yan? I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible, you know? The other thing is, I think the fight analytics are the ones who make the takedowns. I don't think they know what a takedown is, so I don't know if that's really, honestly, I really mean that. It's sad, it's depressing that they don't know what a takedown is, but it's okay, doing the best they can. But he got like something like 30 something takedowns on Sandhagen in one fight, so it's like, this is what he does. So if you're Petr Yan, what do you got to do? Well, if I just get it to 10 takedowns instead of 50, I already gave myself 40% better chance, right? Like,
and how do you do that though with Merab's relentless style? Is it a footwork thing? Is it a distance thing? Like, how do you, this man won't stop. How do you even get space to put your own offense back?
This is the thing that I made my style off of, is feints, fakes to break timing and rhythm, and angles. Now, if you're at an angle, there's no shot. You can't shoot unless they're in front of you. And I think that's why Petr Yan got taken down so much, because he always fights on a very straight line. It's forward, back, forward, back. There's very little side to side with him. So you have to figure out a way, he's got to figure out a way to move side to side. Got to figure out a way to add it in, the lateral movement, and pull Merab into stuff, you know. Sean O'Malley, it has a style like...
He's from Russia, I'm from Georgia. Every time we have a competition against Russians, we have to win.
4 fights within the calendar year. I'm a little salty because you're about to break this record.
I want to fight in March. I hope I will get this White House fight.
What is it about Umar Nurmagomedov that you don't like?
What kind of man you are when somebody tweeting for you? He called me fake champion and I'm done with him. Next question, please.
When are you going to go up weight division?
Merab Dvalishvili.
Perfect. Come on. Thank you so much.
While the bantamweight division steals headlines, the flyweights are lighting up with their own storm. Joshua Van steps into the biggest test of his life, a title fight against Alexandre Pantoja. Van boldly claims he'll finish Pantoja in 3 rounds. Clean, quick, and decisive. He says his speed and precision will catch the champ early, but he's no fool. He knows Pantoja thrives in wild exchanges and can drag anyone into chaos. Van's 5-0 streak with wins over Silva, Royval, and Saruya forced the UFC to give him this opportunity, but Pantoja stands calm, composed, and battle-hardened. With 8 straight wins and 4 title defenses, he radiates the confidence of a man who's been through every kind of war. Then came the twist, Kyoji Horiguchi's return to the UFC. His statement victory over Ruslan Bekov instantly made him a contender again. Pantoja said he'd accept that fight without hesitation, not out of rivalry, but out of respect. But first, Van stands in his way. For Pantoja, everything else can wait. Once the cage door shuts, friendship disappears. The only thing left is the fight and survival.
What's the goal in this fight? Aside from winning, keeping your title, is there any other goals that you have?
Yeah, finish will be good, but we all know that nobody was able to finish Petr Yan. He has some split loss before, and only I think only dominate. He has like all unanimous decision loss against me. Otherwise, he only lost split decisions. You know, so he's good, and I'm just focusing for this fight, get healthy and win this fight. That's all I want, but finish will be sweet.
Joshua Van versus Alejandro Pantoja. Who do you got? This is an interesting fight. Joshua Van hasn't been in the UFC very long. He hasn't even been fighting very long, and he's fighting Pantoja, who's kind of ran through the division, is an OG. I kind of think Van gets it done, but I also kind of think he doesn't. So I have two thoughts there. Well, I watched the fight, his last fight, when he fought Royval, right?
Yep.
That was a crazy fight. That was fucking such a sweet fight. He fought 2 weeks before that, knocked the dude out. So I haven't really got to watch a lot of him besides those two fights, and I don't really think they grappled much. Pantoja is a high-level black belt in jiu-jitsu and a high-level black belt. But yeah, I do think you know, I can see where he takes the back, gets the job done.
100% because I have Kyoji, like my teammate. I conquered this belt in UFC. I know 100% about that. Because that Kyoji have a rising champ before, Bellator champ, and he just missed the UFC. You know, that's something he wants. You know, and I talked to him about that. And I think it's very special if he can do that. It's gonna be very special for me if I can win with the Joshua Van and defend the belt with Kyoji.
Joe Rogan reignited the Merab debate by recalling the moment he realized Merab wasn't just elite, he was something extraordinary. When he fought Henry Cejudo, an Olympic gold medalist and two-division UFC champion, Merab didn't just defend a takedown. He picked Cejudo up, carried him across the cage like a backpack, and slammed him in front of the VIP section while shouting at the crowd. That was the moment the world saw it. Merab wasn't just a relentless worker, he was a force of nature. But people often forget how his story began. Merab's early UFC run was rough. Losses, setbacks, and doubt. Yet he reinvented himself completely. Since then, he's gone on a 10-fight win streak, overwhelming opponents with endless pace, crushing their strategies, and reshaping what it means to be a grinder. Now, all these threads lead to UFC 323, a night where every fighter faces a crossroads. Petr Yan fights to erase the darkest night of his career. Merab Dvalishvili fights to prove his reign is no accident. Joshua Van fights for the dream he's chased since day one. Alexandre Pantoja fights to defend his legacy against time and new blood, and Kyoji Horiguchi fights to unify his legacy across every major MMA promotion on the planet. When December arrives, UFC 323 won't just be another event. It'll be a collision of destinies, a night where the past meets the future, where champions are tested, and where some careers will be reborn while others fade away. Every man stepping into that cage isn't just fighting an opponent, he's fighting for the next chapter of his story, and by the time the final horn sounds, only a few will walk out with their legacies intact.